Hey, everybody. Hey, welcome back to the 53206 cast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Meg.
And this is a podcast specifically designed to help us engage in the process of rethinking our inner city spaces. Meg,
Yeah.
we have a guest
It's so exciting.
today. Today on the podcast is our conversation with Ajamou Butler. Meg, do you want to describe Ajamou? How you know him? What you like about him?
Yeah. Well, it was funny. I was talking to your sister today about talking with Ajamou, and I was like, Ajamou is like, he's created a life that he wants. Like, he goes out and he creates a better Milwaukee. He creates this incredible program, Heal the Hood, for people in Milwaukee because Milwaukee needs it. He just recently moved to North Carolina to be with his family. And so, he'll kind of talk with us through, where he's at. But a big thing, look up Ajamou Butler. He has a website, which is a very nice website. But he's also on LinkedIn.
You do the website, yeah.
And he's on all the socials. And he's just an incredible guy. He's an educator. He's a speaker. He's a poet. He's I think I said educator. But he's just an incredible person.
Yeah. All right, so here is our conversation with Ajamou Butler.
All right. What's going on, beautiful people?
Hi.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
How y'all doing today?
Oh, great. So good. So good. So good. I got your flowers, but I can't give them to you. Look at how pretty they are.
You the best gift giver, okay? The best gift giver that I have met, okay?
I love it. I love it. Where are your plants in your background?
They all are in the living room. I got a bunch of vine plants all in my living room.
Glad you got.
I need like 100 plants. So slowly but surely, I'm letting adding to the collection. I got a long vine. I'm gonna break some stems off soon.
Good.
Propagate them. Add to the collection.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely.
I gotta be honest. When I go to the grocery store, sometimes I'll like put some like propagated, like ones that are on the ground, like in my purse. And I'm, my kids are always like, "You're stealing," and I'm like, "No, this is. They're gonna throw this away. This is propagation."
Sweep it up and throw it out.
Yep.
Yeah, she always has seeds, dead flowers, plants.
I love it.
It's a little much, but
yeah. But you're in like a new climate, so you can grow more things now too.
And my son, mom, they have it's not a raised garden bed. It's in the ground, but. Beautiful quality. She growing some mustards and collards and some basil and some peppers and some watermelon. So they cleared out some plot of it and gave me my own little corner to gather. So I just bought my dirt and my seeds yesterday. So I'm gonna get active. Probably about this weekend I'll go over there and get some stuff in the ground.
Oh, that's exciting. That is so exciting. And where are you in North Carolina?
It's called Gastonia, North Carolina.
Okay.
It's about 20
sounds nice.
5 minutes from Charlotte.
Okay, nice, real nice. That's good.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you the first question?
Shoot.
Because I'm super curious. So I don't know if you give yourself the label as an advocate, but you go out and you do work into the world to make the world how you want it to be. Mm-hmm. And I'm just really curious how, because I mean anybody listening is probably, we haven't even just said this, but you moved. You're halfway across the country now. Like, how did you think about taking the work that you do in Milwaukee and then like figure out a new format for it to take in South Carolina?
North Carolina.
Sorry, North Carolina.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Alex, I still haven't figured that out, brother. I'll be honest with you. My move to North Carolina wasn't based on movement work. It wasn't based on building a new Heal the Hood. It wasn't based in getting, knee deep into the trenches here and finding a need and solving that need. It was based in my family. We all had the desire to relocate, right? So it's 9 of us total that's down here. And that process started a couple of years ago. 4 of us moved down. Last year, 3 of us moved down. And then this summer, me and my mom moved down. So it's solely based in family, looking for, just a change in pace, a change in scenery. We know what Milwaukee has to offer us right now. Now, granted that I will say, since I've been here, I've been connected to some amazing organizations and found some dope ways that I will for sure get myself connected. They got a lot of literacy development programs here. North Carolina, they have a lot of very popular frameworks as it pertains to like early childhood education success. So it's a lot of resources and organizations down here in that particular field that I plan on connecting with and jumping in with. There's a couple of young men mentorship groups that I'll be teaching martial arts. We started a martial arts class at the top of the year with this one young men's group. So, slowly but surely, I can't help but to serve, right? I can't help but to be a healer. I can't help but to give the world my Black boy joy. But my intentions for moving down here were far from movement work, far from movement work.
Okay. Have you found this experience to be more freeing because you get to now like take that passion and put it somewhere else, or is it just more scary?
It's scary as hell.
Okay.
It's scary as hell. Now, don't get me wrong, there are elements of freedom as well, especially the area in which I live. I mean, it's so quiet. It's so quiet at nighttime. I can remember, so I moved down here August 5th. I had been down here for maybe like 3 weeks, maybe a month or so, and I had heard some police sirens, or rather, I seen some police. It was maybe an accident on the freeway or something, and they were going the opposite way of me. And it dawned on me, that was the first time that I seen police activity in action. Now, granted that it was for, like I said, something on the freeway. I hope everybody, hope everything was okay. It wasn't a shooting. It wasn't a, all of the things that are things in Milwaukee. And so when you talk about that level of freedom, I've been able to exhale. I don't have to move so fast nowadays. My schedule is not jam-packed because I got 30 meetings I'm trying to do in 30 minutes. And then I got somebody calling me to come over here. So I've been able to take my cape off and release. I've been able to just be Ajamou Butler and not Brother Hill the Hood. Right. Yeah.
That's super interesting because I think what you're describing is like the area that Meg and I grew up in.
Okay.
It's like a flipped, like now you're there, we're still here. It's just I know that's not what we're here to talk about, but I would love to think about questions then to ask you about that and just like the differences in what you see.
Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I came back to Milwaukee twice in August, once in September. I'll be there in 2 weeks. I'll be back in December. So even though I'm gone, right, Milwaukee is still the base of the operation. That's still where the movement work to continue to be done real strong. I got some partnerships in Green Bay that I'll be doing some work with. So I'm sleeping here, but I'm still working there.
So I know that you're always, at least in your mind, you're like working in schools. And can you talk about some of that work that you got going on?
I love work. So my two more recent bigger projects was one my 5th summer at Marquette University at the Upper Bound program, and this year and about maybe year and 3 months stint that I did doing programming at the youth detention facility, which I talked to you all about, I think, in the last couple of interviews we spoke on that. The Marquette piece was so amazing this summer. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear. Is this microphone working? Is this microphone working? It was amazing. I mean, so when they called me earlier this year and say, "Hey, Ajamou, we want to bring you in this summer again," blah, 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 I says, "Well, listen, I'm moving. You know what I mean? Let me get the dates because I'll prioritize this and I'll move after that." Because initially I was supposed to move in like June or something like this, around Father's Day, if you will. They said, "You know what? Well, since you're leaving us, we're going to give you a real workload this year." So I taught 3 different classes. I taught a 3.5-hour senior seminar class with all 12 graders, and it was called the Peace Ambassador course with Heal the Hood. And I mean, we talked about all things social justice all around the globe. I had to learn about revolution in Vietnam, in Cuba, in Angola, and Tommy Sankara, and Yas Santiwa, and Haiti, and Jamaica, and Mako, and all of Guatemala. I mean, we was learning about global revolution and how we can play a role today to add to that thing. I mean, it was a phenomenal course all about social emotional expression, team building. I mean, violence prevention. These was my favorite group of students that I've had in the last 5 years. I mean, I had a phenomenal group. I taught a poetry course called We Are Not Poets, We Are Messenger, and I had 2 classes with that because they split the boys and the girls, which I appreciate because last year having mixed groups was a little, we know how kids, y'all work with kids. I ain't, you know how it is. But I was able to get a different level of attention, engagement, and nurturing with the separate, genders like that, if you will. Again, phenomenal course. I was watching children push their brains. I was watching the light bulb go off on top of their head as it pertains to literacy development and vocabulary development and sentence structure and just creative expression in general. I mean, it was a phenomenal class. I'm telling the truth.
Hmm.
And my last class was a cultural language arts class where I taught African drumming, and we worked our way up to a big showcase at the end of the year. And that was super dope because I think maybe one of the kids might have had a little bit of experience with African drumming. Everybody else, it was totally new. And I mean, when you are able to tap Black kids, brown children, children of color into ethnic rhythm, be it African drumming, be it samba, be it the Puerto Rican style drumming, be it, it really taps into them and it brings out a different level of creativity they didn't know they had inside of them at all. And so even with the showcase, like I like to brag on myself, y'all, and I like to be very honest. So if I do something bad in the world, I'm gonna say, Meg and Alex, you know what? I fucked up over here. I should have pivoted and went this way. When I say my drumming kids were the best thing that happened to Marquette campus this summer, we got on that stage and we turned up and we invited the other kids to drum with us and parents, community members. I mean, it was so fun. So that was an amazing experience. You talk about being in the schools. Again, then I had my experience where I did about a year and 3, maybe 4 months, doing 4 hours a week, strong weekly curriculum, creative writing curriculum with the young brothers and sisters there. And that was a challenge in and of itself because I'm dealing with a demographic of children whose school is not the highest priority, we'll say that, right?
Sure.
There's a mass of them that have been passed through the school system without having basic comprehension, basic literacy development, basic cognitive thought development, so on and so forth. So I found myself often having to tailor my content, not to dumb it down, to tailor it, right? Find a more creative way to get them to understand it without having to, I'm never going to talk Google Gaga. And again, I can't talk that in there because these are the ones killers and Kia boys and you know what I mean? Just I'm dealing with the demographic I'm dealing with, right? So I wanted to make sure that course was very straightforward. I wanted to make sure that they understood the power in self-expression. I mean, there were so many sessions where we had young brothers crying and reflecting and young sisters telling their truth and planning out goals for, how we going to stay about this damn thing. That was always my goal. And they say, well, Brother Butler, why we got to talk about poetry? Not about poetry. It's about communication. It's about being able to think through creatively a situation to find a solution. And I said, if we can master that on a small level, we can master that on a big level because the Bible teaches us that to be a steward over a lot, you got to be a steward over a little, So that was a phenomenal experience. I was able to give away about 150 or so of my poetry books to all of the young people who I came into contact with. Several staff members received books as well. So that was dope. But this new thing that I'm on, not to take up too much space, but I'm learning to transform and grow in the educational space. I do a lot of work with early Head Start education centers, doing staff PD and just helping to build cultural connections, team building, how do we engage and retain parents, so on and so forth. And I recently had the idea that I really want to start a early Head Start training firm. I want to start an early Head Start training firm where we would specialize in individualized coaching and group coaching for those entering the educational field as teachers, administration, and so on and so forth. And those particularly dealing with them babies, K5, first, second, third, fourth type of energy, if you will. And through this hub, this firm, this conglomerate, if you will, this team, if you will, we would literally begin to set the standards on how we can build out successful early education centers. So I'm working on getting myself certified in a couple of areas so that the content that I now do becomes secondary education credited, right? So people go to my PDs, they can receive those extra credits if they're in school, so on and so forth. So we about to try to change the game and revolutionize some shit to answer that question. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah, in my experience working in schools, like a kid develops an opinion about school like that age, like first grade, second grade. And if they develop an opinion that's not favorable of this place that they go to, then they have like the next 10 years where they're being forced to go do this thing that's supposed to prepare them to go out into the world. And there's an adversarial relationship between the child and the educator. And like that never works.
Absolutely. And I think a real crucial.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say real quick. I think a real crucial element that we miss out on when we have conversations about developing early education success, if you will, parent engagement. right? Because we have children who love school. They love to come to school. It's their safe space, their friends, so on and so forth. But then we send them from a great school environment into a home environment that is under-resourced. We'll just simply say that, under-equipped. We'll just simply say that. And so I want educators to start to shift their focus. Like, yes, we can love on the babies and educate them, but how do we bring real world, tangible, practical resources to parents to help them further education in the household, to foster healthy homes, safe homes, education-based homes, so on and so forth. So I just wanted to just throw that little tidbit out there.
That's important. Yeah. I think that, like, as a mom, I think, you know, as a mom who doesn't know a ton about the educational system other than my kids being in it, you know, there's just so many different things that are going on. And, you know, I feel like the things that I see in my neighborhood and the moms that I talk to, like, they're just so overwhelmed and stressed out. And there's just, you know, like, there's no margin. And so, like, when you put, like, on top, you know, when you put, oh, you're, you know, I was even just thinking about this, you know, our son, he's 11, you know, he got offered to do this extracurricular thing. And, you know, I kind of, I hesitated a little bit because I was thinking, like, how are moms that, like, can't, you know, don't have a car, you know, going to get to this opportunity? Or how are parents, you have to make it to this parent meeting. And I thought, they're going to leave a lot of people out by, you know, just, I feel like there's a lot of things in the educational system that leave out families that don't have margin, that, you know, they're struggling, you know, they work second shift and now they miss out on a lot of different things. And so, yeah, just how do we include parents more in the educational system, because it's so important.
Yeah. And Ajamou, I worked at an alternative school for 10, maybe even 15 years. And so that would be like the step before the kids that you were working with in the detention center, right? And I got to tell you, I can't think, there was maybe 5 kids that didn't want to graduate high school in that 10 years out of like a couple thousand kids. So besides those 5, for whatever reason, but I can tell you, I cannot remember a single parent that did not want their kid to be successful. Like, everybody wanted that. Every single person wanted that. And you would have conversations with them and you would have to tell them, well, this isn't going all that well. And they never expressed to me, well, I don't want it to go well. They always wanted it to go well. And then they could tell you about the last 5 or even 10 years where it wasn't going well. And you could just see, like, oh, if we could have intervened at this point, if we could have helped you maybe think about something that's happening at home is slightly different, that might have actually made a difference. So.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
If I may, I worked at a high school for about 8 years as the parent liaison and community engagement person there. And a big part of my duty was to work with our kids who were on the absentee list. So grades, we already know that attendance affect grades and behavior and all of that type of good jazz. And so I was calling this one mom, right? And this kid was on my list more frequently than not. So me and mom talked more frequently than not. And I'm on the phone with mom. I said, Meg, you know, hey, just checking in. You know, Alex hasn't been to school in the last, you know, week or so, whatever the case. You know, what's going on? And then Meg says to me flat out, listen to me, Brother Butler. I appreciate you so much. I do, but I can't do nothing for Alex right now. I just had a minor invasive surgery that I was healing from, and then I fell, so that made the situation worse. I got a couple of younger kids who are phenomenal in school. They do chores at home. They're respectful, so on and so forth. I got this one kid, Alex, who want to be a jerk. I can't whoop Alex. I can't chase him around. I can't chase him around the streets like, Mr. Butler, I'm tired, right? So my conversations instantly shifted when I would call mom. So now more so is, hey, Meg, how you doing? I know you said you had the knee thing. How you doing? Okay, yeah. Okay, what about the younger kids? They doing all right? How they doing in school? They need anything? They good? Okay, well, I know they probably got a parent resource person, but let me know if I can help. And the cat is doing all right. What's going on with the fishbowl? Okay. And then lastly, right, I would say, all right, mom, well, you know, I'm just checking in on Alex. He did come to school yesterday, but he didn't come to school today.
Right.
You know, I can pull up and drop off some bus tickets if that's a thing. I can do home visits, whatever you need from me, Meg. Let me help make it easy on you, because I know you can't drop him off to school at 7 a.m. every day. Whatever that conversation looks like. But the thing is, we get so caught up in policy that we miss out on practicality and purpose and personability.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hound Meg and tell her, oh, we're going to call the truancy police and all of this other shit.
Yeah.
I got to understand that. It's not that she
It's
don't want success, it's not that she's not trying, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
It's just a couple of barriers that's slowing the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that. The drumming group. They, the alternative school I was telling you about. At one point, we said like the way that we're doing all of this just isn't working, and so let's shift gears and let's do more of a project-based approach. Find something kids are interested in, teach them a little bit of math, teach them a little, make sure that they can read, and then let's get them like active and doing some things. Like what did you see out of those kids? Maybe even like as they're standing on the stage in their performance. Like what were they telling you that you didn't actually hear them tell you?
That aha moment, right? It's that aha moment. And again, y'all work with kids, more, when you tell a kid, hey, I need you to till the ground. We're trying to put the new seeds and say, I can't do this. I don't know how to do it. I don't even know how to spell till. What is a ground and all this shit? You just simply put 1 + 1 together with them, and then 2 + 2 together with them. And then when you see them put the 3 + 3 and make the 6, I'm like, come the fuck on. That's what I'm talking about right there. There's a certain level of pride that came with it, because African drumming is not easy. And the way I teach it, I don't want to talk too much. I want us to listen. I want us to listen and pay attention. And our hearts will unite across the drum. I mean, I will watch it. They will beat me to drum class. Mr. Butler, you late to class? I'm like, no, actually, I'm on time. Y'all are here early because y'all got the drums already. They done went and pulled all of the drums. I've got my chair set up and everything. And so to me, that showed that they needed that form of just creative expression. Get this energy out. We've been in classes all day because my drum class was at the end of the day. So we've been in these classes all day. We need a brain break. But it's not even a brain break because, you're still forming connections. You're still growing. You're still learning. We're learning some African terminology, some African rhythms and things like that. So that's always phenomenal to me, because you see kids who only know about music where we glorify killing each other to now being united through one drum. But it was the same experience when I was in South Africa and taught an African drum class with those beautiful young boys and girls, teenage age young folks or whatever. I mean, the excitement, the readiness, the fire. I mean, we had drum for like an hour. I mean, we all are sweating. I mean, I got a sweat stain on my shirt bigger than Lake Michigan. And I'm like, okay, y'all, I got to get ready to go. And the one young girl, Brother Butler, give us 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes. And my taxi driver had arrived. I just looked at bro. I'm like, can I get, give me 10 more minutes with these babies. And we drummed some more and I had to get out of there. But it does put a fire in their bellies to want to learn more, to want to grow more. It excites the brain because the brain is so dulled by the shit that we got our kids dealing with nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a cool experience the last Saturday. We got this, we went to this new garden that the kids had put together and maintained and cultivated. And you know how like when you ask a group, like, raise your hand if you helped out with this thing, like you get like a bunch of the kids like won't raise their hand because they're embarrassed. There was like 70 kids that raised their hand standing there in front of the mayor. It was just like, that was a super cool moment because, you could tell even throughout the process, like they had thought about that work differently than they would have thought about, well, I wrote this 5-paragraph essay or I did these math problems. It was just different. It was just different. So it's awesome. That's awesome that you were able to do that.
And it's a certain level of camaraderie that comes with African drumming too. So if I got, we're just gonna say 6 drummers, I might have 2 of them playing one rhythm, 2 of them playing another rhythm, 2 of them playing another rhythm, right? And so I might say to Meg and Alex, who are playing the same exact rhythm, Alex, if you mess up, don't fret. Just watch Meg. Meg got your back. Meg, if you mess up, don't stumble, don't worry. You pause, you watch Alex's hands, you listen to what he's doing, and you jump right in. So there's a level of camaraderie and symbiotic synergy, you know what I mean, that comes from really uniting behind African drums. For real, for real.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited.
Have you been writing anything?
A little bit of poetry, more so books. I've been on this.
So what have you been working on?
Yeah, tell us all, because you just had a new one come out, right?
Yep, my 21 days. It's called From the Block to Belize.
Mm-hmm.
21 days of prayer, affirmation, and reflection for men of color. And it's just a journaling. I journaled every day while I was in Belize, traveling from Belize City to Belmopan to Dangriga, and just my overall experience, man, teaching and preaching, partnering with the church, being in the hood, learning a bunch of cultural shit, African drumming, Rastafarianism, vegan food, swimming, all of this shit. No, I actually didn't go swimming there, so that's not in the book. But it was a phenomenal experience, and I put that all in the book. I'm almost done with my latest children's book. I wish I could share my screen. Well, I can't. Let me see if I can. I want to just show y'all the cover of it.
Yeah.
But it's called Blessed Babies Activities Book. And it is something we created just to continue to. Oh, okay. No, I can't share. Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
But
I don't know
nonetheless,
how.
it's
How it
book.
works. Sorry.
Just with a bunch of creative and cognitive stuff in there for the young babies, tic-tac-toe boards. We got some letter tracing stuff in there. We got some fill in the blank stuff, coloring pages. And it's all about seeing your future self. So it's a bunch of babies who are presidents and plumbers and engineers and scientists and farmers and mechanics. And, it's an activity book for the baby. So those are the two latest projects. And I'm working on a book called Connection Before Correction. It's a guide to those who work with children of color or are parents of children of color dealing with behavioral and cognitive issues. Yeah.
And where can people buy these books?
From the back of my trunk. No, they on Amazon. You can get them on Amazon.
Okay.
Both books are on Amazon. And I'll be in Milwaukee real soon, dumping off some copies. So catch me while I'm in town. Yeah.
Good. All right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Ajamou, I know a couple of your books are children's books. And you just said you're working on that early childhood education component. What draws you to that? Because when I think Heal the Hood, I think that's like more old teens, adults. I know it is little kids too, but like what draws you to that?
I mean, I think it's the thing that made me write my first children's books back in like 2019, right before the pandemic slapped us upside the head. And I was doing some work with some 6th and 7th graders, some creative writing poetry work. I'm going around the room checking on everybody's paper, and I'm realizing like the spelling ability is so fucked up, and the handwriting is so fucked up, and there are no commas or periods, and I'm just like, what came to mind was the saying from our great ancestor, Elder Frederick Douglass: "It's better to build children than to rebuild adults." And that just has stuck with me for that's such an interesting concept to me. It's such an interesting way to frame prevention versus intervention.
Yeah.
So you're right. We definitely do a ton of work, in the high school. That's like probably the base of my work. But again, I'm shifting focus now because I'm realizing, for one, nobody is really loving on the babies how they properly should be cultivated, loved on, educated, nurtured, reared, so on and so forth. But I'm just like, damn, what if I could teach kids that being a Kia boy is bad before they already at the stage where they think it's the best thing on the planet? And so it just has really driven my work to work with younger kids and work with the staff of younger kids. Prevention. Trying to build healthy homes, that's it. We got to start. If we can get parents to love on their kids while they are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and help them read a book once a day or so on and so forth, it just lessens the probability of poverty continuing its generational hold on the ghettos around the world, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, a lot of times we would look at like the 1st and 4th grade standardized tests, and not that I really care about what's on a standardized test, but I mean that's like one of the big predictors, or one of the things that can predict. I'm going to use quotes for like future academic success, whatever that means. But like, yeah, the more I worked in schools, the more I thought to myself, yeah, there's like something really important about these first couple of years. Even though the work that they do seems so basic and simple. You're like sitting in a circle and you're taking naps, but like that, yeah, there's something really to that.
Absolutely. And I mean, we all are versed on the pipeline to prison and so on and so forth. And I was just recently doing some research about a new term and a new phenomenon that's popping up and is taking the game over. It's called preschool to prison. Because we used to be able to just look at those 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, or 3rd grade literacy rates and say, okay, I bet you this amount of these students will be in prison by the time they graduate high school. So we need to build another prison and all of this type of other stuff. But now even younger, before our kids even get a chance to, prove themselves of worthy of not being deemed a criminal or so on and so forth. But as they say, you can't judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. Okay. Especially if you don't get that motherfucker resources to figure it out. You see? So it's a cold game we in right now. It's a cold game. Yeah.
Wow.
We've only got, because we're on this like free version of Zoom, we only got like 2 minutes left. Can you okay, let's say that you're talking to an early childhood educator and you've got 2 minutes and 20 seconds. What do you tell
them? I would ask them their why. That's always super important. And I think that's more self-explanatory than not. Because if you're here for a paycheck, find a new job, it doesn't pay good and it is stressful as fuck. And you have to be more than passionate about this work, more than purpose-filled about this work. So I would ask them their why. I would ask them what they study is like in the field. Not just like, did you go to school and got a bachelor's or so on and so forth, but do you have any firsthand experience in the field, either shadowing, getting mentored, or just being in the field? I would ask them, what books are they reading outside of what they were giving in their academic place? What are you watching? Some YouTube series? Are you watching some TED Talks? You got a couple of documentaries? Like, what else are you doing to further your understanding? I would tell them to really dive deeper into cultural cultivation and what that really means, especially when you're dealing with a class. You got maybe some Asian beautiful kids and some red Native American kids and some brown, black, and white, or whatever the case may be. How do I bring in elements of all of their culture, right? Me and my classes, I like to listen to music. And a lot of times I let the kids write whatever songs they want on the board, as long as they're inappropriate. I'm going to just kind of shuffle through and play them, through our work time, right? So maybe I'm going to set a standard. On Mondays, we listen to the bachata and more Mexican, Latin American music. On Tuesdays, we listen to more Caribbean-based music, 60 seconds. On Wednesdays, we listen to more Asian-themed meditation type music or whatever. But figuring out those smaller ways to include cultural sensitivity in the classroom, 2.5 minutes, I could really preach on that shit, but it's so much.
That's good. That's why you should run a class on it.
Yeah. That's so good. So good. Where can people find you? Because I feel like I learned so much from you. Where can people find you?
LinkedIn. I'm building up this LinkedIn presence. Ajamou Butler on LinkedIn. Let's build there. Right.
Yeah. We appreciate you so much. We always love having you. We love talking with you. So thank you. You are just incredible.
I do. And I've been keeping up with it, Alex. I've been watching you. I've been watching you drop it like it's hot, man, and continue to, just talk that shit, man. I love it. I love it.
That's good. Well, well wishes with everything, and I'm so glad you're with your family and all that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Glad the move went well. Yeah.
All right, welcome back. That was our conversation with Ajamou Butler. We appreciate you listening, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.